Oi, how are you glorious Demon Hunter bastards doing today? Welcome back to the channel, and welcome back to some more Peak of Combat content, or better known as Wallet May Cry, the game trying to separate the cash from your wallet and make you cry. I'm your host, as you know, FOXSOL, and today we're going to be doing a little bit of an update-ish video for our Demon Hunter Dante, as well explain some more things about him with his potential, because, you know, I think for my free-to-play players out there, this is a great unit. And if you are not trying to pull for, like, if you don't have an endless Judgment Virgil, this is a character that you should be looking into seriously. So let's break it down. Let's go through this and let's do this update.
Where's your motivation?
All right. Breaking down the character real quick. Before we get started, actually, this video was actually a special request from the stream last night to say, hey, can you please do an updated video on your Demon Hunter Dante and, showcase his potential? Well, that's what we're doing. We are going to spend the time real quick. We're going to go through this and give you a couple of things, because regardless whether you have an Endless Judgment Virgil, whether you have Devil Bringer Nero, or, Eternal Nightmare V now, to my free-to-play players, this Demon Hunter Dante right here, I've been spending the time since the game's release, and originally I wasn't trying to build him up, but then I saw some things and we started building him up, and at the same point in time we got him EX, so it is very well should be known that you can get him EX for free. There's a lot of Bloody Palace, it's a lot of different events, it's anywhere where you can grab shards from, and just a lot of patience and waiting, because every 50 shards you get a new level, and that's what we did with Dante. I think I might have bought one pack of shards for him just to try to speed things up a little bit, but otherwise the remaining rest of it has always been just handed over and given. And we even bought stuff from the guild, from exchange shop that way. So getting into it, my Demon Hunter Dante pretty much is level 80, EX'd, fully awakened. And when it comes down to it with stat wise, we get an attack of 6,259. We have a crit damage of 141.2, a physical damage of 25.6, an overall damage of 11.8, and a crit rate of 5. This number here, and I'm going to point this out to anyone who's playing Eternal Judgment Virgil, or you're playing Dante right here. This right here, even Roll Guard, this is not a necessary at all number. This right here, crit rate does not matter, especially on this Dante, especially on this unit right here, this Dante, that does not matter. To showcase that, we start seeing this at SSS rank. So when you start duping him, you start leveling up, you will see that when Devil Trigger is activated, you get an increased damage, increased defensive by 20%, which is great. But you also get an increased crit rate of 60%. So right then there, right off the block, I mean, there's no fucking need to put any crit rate on Dante. When we get to EX, we also get an increased physical damage by 70% on top of what we have. So with the 25% we have in this and the 70, we're already at what, 95? Close to 100? So we don't need to worry about that. When it comes to cards, pretty much right now, I got some crappy cards and we're still working to build that up. It's going to take about another week or two to get to that point, I'm pretty sure. But you can see where I'm going at with this. I'm building up crit rate damage, physical, and attack on my first card. Physical, crit damage, and overall damage. You don't see a crit rate on this. There is, if I can help the god to not get a crit rate, but just get MP regen, that's what I'm looking for. The third card here could be a replaced card. Right now is here because the main stat on it is a crit damage of 48.5. I have nothing else better right now. So it includes a 1.92% for overall damage, a 2.8 for attack, and we got two shitty stats right here. Our last card, which could be a better card as well, it could have a third gold stat on it. It's Also gives me a 12% crit damage, an LP regen of 9.6 is which I was looking for, and 2 defensive stats. The 2 defensive stats, again, are not necessary. Don't need that. I would prefer to see right here, you know, a physical damage purple, an attack gold, you know, percentage, something else to the effect that would increase the damage overall. If I could, the best card right here would be to leave the attack percentage here, take away the crit damage here because we don't need that 12.8% in all honesty. We really don't. Take that off. Go ahead and replace that with physical damage, attack, and MP regen. That would be a great card. Kind of similar here. If we can have a crit damage card of 48% and go right here and just, you know, have, you know, maybe like the crit rate on this side a little bit to help, you know, buff it up a little bit, but mainly just physical damage and attack damage right here. That would be great. So I'm looking for some better cards still, but these cards are doing really well for Dante. Now, again, as you saw before, Dante gets an immediate crit rate when he goes into Devil Trigger. We want the MP regen on these cards, if at all possible, as much as possible, just because we want to make sure that we get into Devil Trigger as fast as possible. That's really what we're looking for. Currently, right now, if we have an active bleed gauge on, we also gain another 20% crit rate. And like I say, like we can get rid of this 12% because we would get an additional 20% crit damage just from having the 4 cards of Phantom on. So what does that mean? This means right here that this motherfucker can actually do some serious damage when he's in Devil Trigger. His basic form, not so good. Not so good at all. And that is where we are looking at. So let's go ahead and showcase a little bit. I'm sorry, Nice. I would be helping you out right now, buddy. But currently we are doing a video. So going ahead and breaking this down real quick. Let's go ahead and come see. Now, like I said, the team that I normally run is called Space Obliteration, which I think is the dumbest name. So let's go ahead and call this instead the Royal Judgment Hunter team instead of Space Obliteration. I don't know why the devs called it that. Kind of sounds shitty to me. This is normally the team I run. You don't have to run this team. A lot of you might not have Endless Judgment Virgil, but you should have like Royal Guard. What you really need is, if that's the case, you can go ahead and you can replace Endless Judgment right now with another physical hunter, which we could do something like Swift Arsenal Lady, and this would work. Because in all honesty, you can even do Devil Crusher. This would work. Then at that point, if we do that, we have to make sure we also have blood gauge efficiency that would be put on Dante to help speed up the process of getting to the bleed gauge. But what works here is Endless Judgment is our bleed gauge activator. This character right here for Royal Guard, this is our shield breaker for our red shields. And his job is to come in, break the shields, go ahead and swap out to Dante with QTE, and then do all the fucking shit damage. And then swap it right back to Virgil and rinse and repeat until we can get to Virgil's Endless Judgment and end the match. That's pretty much where we are at with this. So let's go ahead. Let's do challenge real quick. And I'm going to showcase what I'm talking about. This team very well. Like what I like is that the team basically is a very union team. It's very synergy. The synergy together works really well. So it synergizes its attacks very well. So in this kind of way, the base way I could say that the way this plays out is like that of Genshin Impact. You're not going to be on the field with a character for that long. You're coming in, you're swapping character, you're going back to next character. That's really what we're doing. Now, I have it set to ultimate right now for unlimited MP regen just to showcase this. Otherwise, it would take a little bit longer because it does take a little while for my Dante to build the MP regen in order to get to the point to actually pull this off. So bear with me. This is just an example of how this all works together. And the way it works is that we would go in, do basically our Virgil things at first, like so, switch over to Royal Guard, and then QTE into Dante. Now, you see, I was a little too late with Dante because without his Devil Trigger, Dante, it does piss poor damage. That is the problem. The problem is that Dante is not good when it comes in this build normal. His damage comes out when he comes into Devil Trigger. You'll see the damage just spike from this. You'll start seeing 20,000 hits from crit. You'll start seeing a whole totally different game span. So it would be more like this. Oh, wrong character. I pressed the wrong button because that's normal heads all the way. So let's reset real quick. There we go. Normally my Royal Guard's the first button. There you go. And then now you're seeing Dante really do crit damage. And then it's a rinse and repeat. That QTE that Dante does when he swaps in does tremendous damage. It does like over, I've seen it to where it does over 100,000, to where I will be fighting a Vanguard and, you know, or not Vanguard. I'm trying to think what the name of the monster is. It's the fucking big one that fucking sits there that has the big red shield that fucking can throw the laser beam at you. That once I swap over to Royal Guard, break the shield with Royal Guard, and I swap it to Dante QTE, I've seen that QTE take an entire health bar and just zap it through at a challenge level 20. Because we're doing close to 100,000 plus damage just from the QTE. And like I said, you don't have to run this team per se. You could run, you know, for my free-to-play players out there, you should be totally looking at this. You could run something like a Swift Arsenal. It's perfectly fine. You know, it's just going to be a little bit different, but we can run Swift Arsenal. All we got to make sure of is just that it's a physical team when coming into this. That's all. We just need to make sure that we have a physical team to get that 30% extra crit rate. Now, when it comes into raid battles, this is a little bit different. If you're going to go into co-op, this Dante is not going to be doing that type of damage because you are relying on an extra 30%. You're still at 70%, which is still good. But you do sacrifice having 20% crit rate and 20% crit damage on top of what you're doing. Well, no, you don't sacrifice that. You're sacrificing the 30% crit rate, excuse me, on top of everything. And depending if you don't have like someone who can cause a bleed gauge on the team, like Endless Judgment Virgil in the raid, you're also sacrificing not having 20% crit rate and 20% crit damage. That's also another thing that you can throw out the window. So at that point, for events such as boss raids where you're going to have to go in and help other people, in here, it would probably maybe better suited to, yes, put in cards that have crit rate. But mainly, in all honesty, is to make sure you have cards that have that MP regen, so that way you can legitimately get involved and you can just get your Devil Trigger out as fast as possible. I think it's a really great unit. It is 100% plausible for any free-to-play player to get it EX'd. This is a great unit. It's a solid A, close to S rank. I mean, I think that with the end game, going through these cards real quick and building these cards up, I can make this Dante's Devil Trigger do Virgil damage with his Stinger. I am pretty damn sure I can. Because we're getting close there. We're getting really close. So you can get these shards right here to, you know, dupe all the way, because I think it gives you like all the way for free to S. So you can get the S plus, the SS, the SS plus, the SSS and SS plus, all this from Bloody Palace for sure. That's how we did it, and we went in there. So you can get it from Bloody Palace. There's different events. I think even like the festival right here you can come to. Yeah. You can go to exchange, and then I think it's under tier 2 or tier 3. You can buy a chest for 40 if you get 40 of them, and continue on. That's the one you can get. You can get, by the way, you can get 50 shards right now for Frosty Grace, and you can unlock the character basically, essentially right now for cheap price. Like this, if you don't have her, this is the fastest way of getting her. And the cheapest way compared to doing it through the banner. So, you guys tell me what you think. I honestly going to tell you right now, this is my update video for Dante. Dante legitimately is a good crit damage character. We're not building no crit rate on him because, I mean, we get over 60%, you know, for free. Completely for free with Devil Trigger. We get 70% increase with physical damage, which is great. Oh, and this ratio bullshit that people keep saying, oh, you need to have a ratio. Get the fuck out of here. The ratio is just for people who don't want to do math. So basically, the all honesty is that right now we got like a 95% crit, physical damage buff. We got 11.8%. I would love to see to try to get this at 100%. I'd love to see to try to get this at least around 68 for the attack. And we could sacrifice some of the crit damage, you know. We could take away 12%, 12% from this. It would be perfectly fine. And we can actually go ahead and get this, you know, lower down, because the more damage, the bigger the crit damage would be anyway. So we got it right now at 141. But if we could sacrifice some of this, get it down, you know, I'll say like, let's say 114, 120. But this is like at 7K or so. I mean, we're still doing shit tons of damage. So, all right, guys, you have a good one. You take it easy. Hope this video finds you well. Any questions, comments, or anything, we do live streams on a daily basis, almost every fucking night. And come into those streams. If you got questions about your cards, I will go ahead and I will display this as well real quick. We do have a Discord that the link should be in the description below. If it doesn't work, let me know. But we do have a Discord here that we are right now currently working on with our Wallet May Cry Peak of Greed channel that we're discussing, and we're working together to find out everything right here. So we work together, we find out different things, we look at our builds, we have different questions that we can ask. So if you feel like coming and join a community and come work together, this is what we got right here. Hey, if you guys want to help me figure out some new gacha games that I may be interested in playing, that'd be also great too. But until next time, take it easy, and I'll catch you on the flip side. Peace.